At the end of this video, I want to tell you whether I think it was worth getting the degree. I will tell you that I'm not in hospitality tourism anymore in hotels, restaurants, or anything like that. I'll tell you whether I think it was worth it financially and time-wise. If you're new here, this channel is about everything self-improvement, whether that be relationships, career, health, fitness, what have you. It's all things self-improvement. Back in the late 90s when I was going to college, Virginia Tech for me was a pretty good school. I was an average student in high school, got B's, got some C's, got some D's. So I was average to poor in high school. And I wasn't originally accepted when I applied for Virginia Tech. And then like a couple of months later, when I first submitted my application, I submitted it again because they told me that I didn't pass through the first qualifier, but I could reapply and they might get me in. I actually heard that if I applied to the computer science program at Virginia Tech, that I would have an easier chance getting in, just because a lot of people wasn't going into computer science back then. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into computer science, and that sounds like a good degree, right? Sure enough, second try, I got accepted. When I got the letter, I was so excited. I was just happy. It's like, woohoo! Me and my family, we applied for loans, a Stafford loan, and I got a couple of grants. Didn't have the grades to get any scholarships or anything like that. First year, I lived with my adult brother, so I didn't have to pay for dorm fees or anything like that. And my parents was helping me out with the rent for the apartment that I was living with my brother. That saved on rent and food, and it helped minimize my costs along with the student loan and grants. I was an in-state tuition for Virginia at Virginia Tech. So I was getting in-state tuition, and the average cost per semester, half a year, for me was like $2,500 or $3,000, which is nothing now, right? It's super expensive now to go to college. I looked up in-state tuition at Virginia Tech, and it's $11,000 per year, so it's doubled. You're looking at about $45,000 to get your four-year degree. And dorm cost is like $9,000, books is $1,000, and so on. It gets worse if you're out-of-state tuition, as we all know. You're paying full price, and at Virginia Tech right now, it's $30,000 a year tuition cost. $32,000 a year for out-of-state tuition. You're going to end up paying $120,000 by the time you graduate with your degree. By the way, I was a 19-year-old senior in high school, so I failed the first and second grade. I think that's due later finding out that I had Asperger's syndrome, which is a mild form of autism. And so I couldn't communicate. I didn't know what was going on in first and second grade, so I failed both of those grades and graduated at the age of 19. I don't think any of my teachers and a lot of people in my hometown didn't think I would go to college. They're like, well, this 19-year-old that's failed 2 years, you know, what, he's not going to go to Virginia Tech, you know. And Virginia Tech is a good school in Virginia. No, it's not a UVA, it's not a Princeton, but it's still a darn good school. And I was happy to get in. First month in college as a freshman, I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I didn't know what I was doing. Computer science confused the heck out of me. I knew I wanted to work on computers, but I remember one of the intro classes, they were saying, well, if you're in computer science, obviously you're great at math. And let me tell you something, people. I got D's and C's in math in high school, in geometry and calculus and algebra. I'm a horrible math student, horrible. And then we had to buy a brand new computer. Back then it was like $3,000 for an IBM at the time. And I didn't know what to do with it. It was like getting something out of outer space. I didn't know what to do. And I was so socially awkward because of my autism. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to ask questions. And I didn't even know how to answer. I didn't even know how to ask questions, to be honest with you. It was super confusing. And I ended up dropping computer science. So I thought, you know what? I know history. So for like one semester, I was a history major in my first year. So you don't really take your major courses that you use for your career the first 2 years. History, I migrated to psychology, and to be honest with you, I loved psychology, but I knew if I was going to do anything in it, I had to become a doctor in it, or a master's at the very minimum, and I just didn't want to go that far. One day I was overhearing someone talking at a nearby table saying, you know, how there's so many jobs available in hospitality tourism management. Like it's got a 100% acceptance rate for jobs because people are looking for these type of workers, you know. And of course, hospitality is hotel management, restaurant management, cruise lines, travel agencies, and stuff like that. And I was like, well, it's easy? Heck yeah. Then I majored in hospitality tourism management, and sure enough, finally got a degree in it. It took 5 years to graduate college, and I got my bachelor's degree. One reason it took 5 years is just because I changed my major 3 times, and I failed Accounting 101 twice. And back then, I don't know if it's still the same, but accounting in U.S. colleges, Accounting 101 is like the most failed course in college. And the mathematics, of course, the algebra and calculus that I was required to take, I failed miserably at. I barely scraped by with D's and C's. I just hated math. But during those 5 years, I was just wanting a degree. I was just wanting that piece of paper. That's what I wanted. I just wanted that paper. I wanted something I could hang on my wall, that I'm a college graduate. This guy that failed 2 years, 1st and 2nd grade, and graduated at 19 and was made fun of just because he graduated at 19. This guy got a college education from a nearby college that's actually halfway decent. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. My last 2 years of college, when I was in hospitality tourism management, I had to make a little bit of extra money, and I was required to do some jobs that was in hospitality. I ended up applying for a couple of hotel jobs, and they stuck me at 3rd shift, night audit. And if you don't know what that is, that's the graveyard shift. That's working from like 11 p.m. at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. And they stuck me there, and I think they stuck me there just because I'm not a social person. They could tell, and they're like, okay, well, I'm sure this guy will take that. And sure enough, I did. And a guy that was training me was going to another college close by, and he knew I was in hospitality tourism. He said, let me ask you something. He says, let me ask you something. Why are you getting a degree in burger flipping? I was thinking, burger flipping? Basically, he was just making fun of my degree, and he was saying, look, anybody can manage hospitality businesses like hotels and restaurants and McDonald's. Why do you need a degree in that? Why are you spending your money and your resources and your time getting that degree? And he was studying for his master's in physics, and he eventually became a high school teacher in physics. And I did get a little bit offended by it, but thinking back on it, he's not 100% wrong, you know? He's not really wrong. I find that the people in the hospitality tourism management that really make it to the top echelon, we're talking about high managing executives, computer analysis, hotel trends, accounting. These people that are in high positions in hospitality, they don't hire these people from the hospitality tourism class. They hire these people from the finance class, from the business class, from the accounting, the marketing class. They don't look for the hospitality people. But let me tell you, on the day that I graduated, I was happy as a lark. Just because I had that degree in my hand, and to be honest with you, I was finished with school. So actually, my first job at Extended Stay America was pretty good, and I actually got along with those people. And it's rare for me to be able to get along with people just because of social anxiety and ASD and just awkwardness in general. But I did get along with that girl. I remained assistant manager there for about 2 years, and I was making like $26,000 and then $28,000, which even back then wasn't a lot of money. And that's what I got originally for my burger flipping degree. Then all HELL kind of went loose when I was promoted to general manager, and I was sent to another state because I didn't get along with those people whatsoever, had extreme social awkwardness. And I was having complaints just because I really couldn't manage people that well. I got a degree in hospitality tourism management. It's a people person kind of degree. Then I went to an inside sales position in a nearby town, and then I went to outside sales to work for family. And then when times went up and down as far as my income, sometimes I started working night audit again. Even though I had a bachelor's degree in hospitality tourism management, I would work my regular job, my sales job during the day, and work night audit during the night. You know, that was my decision to do just to make a little bit extra income. Looking back on it now, I got more experience working at that small hotel, working as an assistant manager, because at smaller hotels, you're a jack of all trades. You do everything from accounting to front desk to housekeeping to maintenance to everything. And so really learned more just working in the field, working at a hotel and working at a small hotel. As an assistant manager, I was responsible for doing the books, for hiring people, for firing people, for accounting, for inventory. And after graduating in Sallie Mae loans, Stanford loans, I end up owing about $17,500 in college loans at like a 1.5 or 2% interest rate. When outside sales kind of dried up and I realized that wasn't my forte, I used my old pickup truck to deliver things on Craigslist, and I would charge $50, $60 a pop to deliver furniture. So all that money I was making delivering while doing night audit and then doing eBay sales, I was socking it all away towards that student loan and my credit card debt. And within a year, year and a half, I had it all paid for and I was completely debt-free. Now, some people would say, hey, somebody at the age of 35, 36 with a bachelor's degree and you don't own a home now and you don't have really any net worth, it's kind of depressing that you have a college degree. Yeah, but you know what? A lot of people in my shoes have outstanding debt. They have a huge mortgage. They have car payments. They have all this. Yes, their income is higher. Debtee is enslaved to the debtor. So as soon as you can get out of debt, the better. So the question is, was it worth it for me to get a bachelor's degree, considering that I'm in a field that's not in my chosen career path when I went to college? It's not in the major that I took. And the answer is kind of two-part. For me, yes, but that doesn't mean it's right for you. Now, normally I would say it's not right for me because I'm not using it in my career path. I'm doing Amazon, eBay sales, and other online marketing, so I'm making the bulk of my living off of that. I stopped and realized I use my college degree every day. Even though it was in hospitality tourism management, I was taking courses in statistics, accounting. I got a minor in psychology. I use psychology every day. I use the skills and the writing skills that I learned in English in my marketing today. And so I get great benefits from my college degree. That's number one. And number two, for me, it's super important, being that I'm somebody that failed 2 years, graduated high school at the age of 19. It was super important for me to get that bachelor's degree, just because for me, for my own heart, for my own self-confidence. Because if I didn't get that degree, if I never went to college, or if I had just dropped out after a couple of years after I knew computer science wasn't for me, I would have always had wonder or regret, and I would feel a little bit unconfident knowing that I never got my degree. Now the question is it right for you? Is getting a bachelor's degree right for you? I will say that if it helps your confidence, then go for it. You know, if you think it's something that would help you in life, help you career-wise, if it would help you socializing and making friends with people from all different backgrounds and making friends from all different professions, a key group of people that may be your friends for the rest of your life, I think it's great. I would highly recommend, if you're confident in your high school education and confidence in yourself as a learner, to try to do something more math-oriented. Go for a degree that you actually need to get into a specific career, like teaching or engineering or architecture or a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer. Those are the fields that you have to have a degree in order to do that job. If you're listening to this and you're in high school, please focus on your math, your calculus, your algebra. Spend twice as much time on those. Anything in mathematics I feel is more important than the arts, than English, than history, or anything else that you can take. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for those subjects. Math is so important to so many important jobs today. And another big factor to take in consideration is economics. You do not want to straddle yourself with debt early on in your life. And it's easy when you're young and you're in your late teens and you're getting into college and there's parties and there's fun and everybody's buying clothes. It's easy just to pretend like it's monopoly money and that the money that Sallie Mae or the US government gives you to loan, you feel like that it's just free money in the air and that, oh, I'm going to have such a great career, I'll be able to pay for it easily. No, do not think that way. Try not to saddle yourself with so much debt. And I would highly recommend going to a community college your first 2 years. So less expensive than these big universities. Do whatever you can to go to college in your own state so you can get that in-state tuition. Like I said, it's 4 or 5 times more if you're going out of state. And there's nothing wrong with living with your parents or family while you go to college the first couple of years. You're going to save a lot of money. You're going to save anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, depending on where the college is, and even more. So I would highly recommend going to a community college and figuring out what you want to do. And when you finally do get that degree, and if you do go to a 4-state university later on, it's not going to have some kind of notation on here, oh, but they went to a community college the first 2 years. No, you got a degree, a 4-year degree from this great university, even though you went to community college for 2 years. And you'll save yourself a boatload of money. There's nothing wrong with paying as you go. There's nothing wrong with going part-time in college and taking 6 or 9 credit courses and pay as you long so you don't get straddled with debt. Try to get as many grants and scholarships as possible. Go online and apply for all the scholarships that you can. Work it as a job and try to get scholarships to help pay for your college. And let me leave you with this. The in-state college fee on average in this country is about $11,000 or $12,000 a year. So by the time you graduate, for in-state, you're paying about $44,000. For out-of-state, it's about $120,000. Over those 4 years in your late teens and early 20s, if instead you were to put $44,000 in a well-diversified mutual fund in the stock market, you would be a millionaire by the time you were in your early 40s. Now get this, this is where it gets fun. With accumulated interest, with that money snowballing, by the time you're in your mid-60s and you're retired, you'll be worth, if you were to take that same $44,000 and invest it in a mutual fund instead. Now, if you invested $120,000, if you were out of state, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars you would be worth by the time you were retired. How would I be able to save $44,000 in my early 20s, in my late teens, when I don't even have a degree or a career? That's true, but literally if you worked full-time at a McDonald's and lived with your parents and didn't pay rent, you'd be saving $8,000 or $9,000, $10,000 that you'd be able to put into a mutual fund, and you'd be almost there at the time you retired. So I'm just giving you a little bit of perspective. Don't get me wrong, it's not all about money. College is a lot about life experience and all that. Life's not about money, but you're getting what I'm saying. All right, I hope you enjoy this video. I make a few of these every week. Please subscribe.